Could you make your printer into a smart printer for $30? Well, now you can with Octoprint. Now, Octoprint isn't anything new, and it's already free, but the hardware needed to drive it costs about $40 for the Raspberry Pi and another $30 for the webcam. Well, not anymore. Raspberry Pi's newer Raspberry Pi 02W is $15 and performs roughly the same as Raspberry Pi 3B. You can also buy an 8 megapixel Raspberry Pi camera module for only $15. And I'll show you how to set it up, as well as some super useful plugins to install. First, install the Raspberry Pi Imager from the Raspberry Pi website, linked in the description. Then, select the Raspberry Pi 02W or whatever Raspberry Pi model you have. I couldn't record this step for some reason, so bear with me. When choosing the operating system, go to Another Specific OS, 3D Printing, Octopi, Octopi Stable. And then select the microSD card that you usually use for your prints, because you won't be needing it anymore, or you could just use any other microSD card. When prompted for custom settings, click Yes. Make sure that SSH is enabled under the Services tab, and set yourself a user and password and enter your network's SSID and password, as well as your networking region and time zone. I didn't do it here because I use Windows, but if you don't, give your Pi a hostname. I decided to sanity check, and I plugged the SD card into the Pi, as well as the power and USB cable. Everything was working fine, so I printed a case for the Raspberry Pi and a mount for the camera, both linked in the description. It was simple assembly for the camera mount, screwing in M3 screws into their place. And I later decided to have 2 screws for the base and the camera housing. Then I clicked in the camera and sealed the housing. I then clicked the Raspberry Pi into its case and inserted the loose end of the ribbon cable into the Raspberry Pi. Finally, I secured the lid with 2 M3 screws. To mount the Raspberry Pi case and the camera mount to the printer, I unscrewed the electronics bay cover. Then I soldered the case into the 2020 T-slot aluminum. To mount the camera mount, I screwed it in between the 2 front screws and screwed back the rest of the electronics bay cover. Then I plugged in the power and USB cable for the printer. To get to the Octoprint page, double-click on the Octoprint instance under Network in File Explorer, or enter the hostname that you had set earlier in the browser. You'll be prompted to go through a setup process. And once you're done, click on the wrench icon in the top right to enter the Octoprint settings. There, look for the application key and copy that. This next step differs based on what slicer you use, but if you're using Cura, then follow these steps. And if you're not, you can usually just paste your application key straight into your slicer. In the Cura marketplace, add the plugin Octoprint connection. Restart Cura as prompted, then go to Printer, Manage Printer, connect Octoprint, select your Octoprint instance, then paste your application key and close the window. Now, the best part about Octoprint is the plugins, and here are what I consider essential. Touch UI. This gives you a pretty mobile-friendly interface. Exclude regions. Lets you cancel specific parts of your print. Octolapse gives you those sick growing time lapses. And finally, Octo Everywhere, so that you can monitor your print even off the network that your Octoprint instance is on, with free AI failure detection. If you're using Cura and you want to use Octolapse, you'll have to paste in specific G-code into your start G-code. Copy the G-code script linked in the description, then in Cura, go to Printers, Manage Print Settings, and paste the script at the top of the start G-code section. Great, now you can print wirelessly straight from your slicer, remote monitor your prints with AI failure detection. Also, excuse the quality, I'm using a $10 5 megapixel camera instead of the $15 8 megapixel camera because it's just what I had on hand at the time. And you can take super cool, non-jittery time lapses, all for $30. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you didn't, leave a dislike, I guess. Okay, goodbye.